So good afternoon, everyone. In this session today, we will talk about presentation essentials when we are, presenting some solution to anyone. So someone may call it as a pitch, that you're making a pitch for funding. Someone may call it as, okay, I have an idea and I want my manager to sponsor it. Someone may call it as, I have a proposal that I want a funding agency to look at. There could be different ways in which people could look at it. But whatever it is, whenever we are talking about presenting a solution to anyone for that matter, that is where the the basic few tips that we will discuss now may come in very handy. This will not take more than 5 minutes, and then we will go into breakout rooms. So, what do you think should be an essential part of a solution presentation? If I ask you to make a 5-minute solution presentation in the ideas that you're working on, the projects that you're working on, if I ask you to make a 5-minute presentation on that, what would be the ideal components of it?
The problem statement.
The problem statement.
And your motivation, why you choose that problem statement.
Okay, very good. That necessarily has to be there. Yes.
And like because like your nominal solution that you are going to start with your you are going to offer to your end customer, because the end customer like your investor wanted to know why you have choose your problem and what is your problem and what you are going to deliver in the first place.
Okay. So some details about the project and its execution and the timeline. Yes. Okay. What else? How would you structure your presentation? So that's a good input. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that, Viman. But how would you structure your presentation? What would you talk about first? What would you talk about next? And so on.
So first I will start with my problem statement. Then I will start with motivation. Then the deliverable things.
So you want to start with the problem statement, the motivation. So problem statement and motivation are the same, is it not?
No, I think let's say for our case, we have choose electric bike. So we're going to tell the investor that what is exactly is going to electric bike and why we have choose this concept, actually how it's going to affect to the end customer. Then in the next step, what is going to be offered.
First thing is problem statement and motivation in one go, na?
One go.
So you want to say that problem statement is title project by e-bike. That is the problem statement.
Yes, e-bike and some explanation or some, you can tell some overview of that, the problem statement. It's not about the title, I think.
Okay, so mixing some problem statement and solution statement together to say
Yes.
what that is problem statement. Okay, yes. Okay.
Then why you come across because if you see any pitch, the investor wanted to know that your background and why you come across to this problem, actually.
So yeah, that is fine. That is fine as to when you're making a pitch to an investor, that is fine. But I was not specifically looking only for making pitches. I was also looking for that matter, when you're presenting a solution to your manager. Now the manager would know you and your skill set anyways. So that may not be an essential component, but yeah, that could be a good component to keep in. Okay. So where would you bring in this information, Viman? That your background and everything?
From
you want to start with that, you want to end with that, You want to talk about it in the middle of the presentation? When would you want to bring in your background?
Background in the background, like the overview of the problem statement in the beginning, actually. I will go through.
No, why should the investor trust you with their money? That background.
Okay.
So you want to give this information. When would you place this information on the table?
Yeah, one thing is the investor will trust, because sometimes investor itself is wanted to work with this in the field, actually.
Mhm. Yeah, good. Thanks, Viman. Thanks. Others, what about you guys? You also have to make presentations for solutions. How do you intend to make those presentations? Saurabh, you unmuted. You wanted to say something.
Sir, basically structuring the presentation like based on what is the problem statement, our background, then set up technology that we'll be using to solve the problem. What is the economic cost of the problem? Who and how large is the targeted group? And finally, how will it affect and bring change into the world, and how we can extend it as our business model. So, I mean, this is how we can present sequentially, and it should be concise, simple, and with proper visuals so that there's no ambiguity at the end of the presentation.
Good. Thanks, Saurabh, for sharing. Whatever components you said are definitely essentials, and the sequence is something which is very interesting. Great. Great. Thanks for sharing. Others? If you have to make a presentation on solution to a problem that you were working on, to an investor or to your manager or to anyone who could be sponsoring your activity, what are the essentials in there according to you, and in which sequence would you present those essentials? So Biman shared something, Saurabh shared something, Anshul just unmuted himself. So Anshul?
So we can go in the same sequence. We can start with the problem statement, then propose how we are going to solve the problem, and then we can also talk about the competitive analysis, that like who else is solving it and how we are better than them. So that's one other thing that can be added. Yeah, that's what I want to ask.
Great. Yeah, this competitive analysis is also an interesting and data point that you can add there. We already did this benchmarking, so we know who our competition is. That was the entire reason of doing that. Yes. Any other ideas?
I think a couple of them that come to my mind, which have not been uh, pointed out yet. So one of the key aspects also is being precise in what you're asking for.
Mhm.
Then the other, I mean, like, you know, it's like, okay, I'm asking for this thing for this amount of money, or or for this amount of effort, or whatever it is. The other thing I think anyone would like to know is the return on investment. So that means that what is the projected benefit
Mhm.
of the investment that we're making, and just a high level summary of what kind of returns are we looking at, with what risks. I think that's the other component. What are the potential risks? Yeah, and of course, then uh, everything I think is also mentioned by others.
Great. Thank you, Amit, for bringing this point in. For example, uh, you know, uh, when we talk about uh, a pitch, or presenting an idea to someone, it is also important that we have a very clear ask. If we do not really tell them what is it that we need, how will anyone support us? है ना? So thanks for adding this point.
Yeah.
Others, anything else?
Sir, we can also like present some statistical data that is related to some kind of survey uh, by which we are targeting our like minimum viable product. Let's say let's say about the pollution in Delhi, that one. So we can show that how vehicular pollution is playing an important role there, and how replacing step to bicycles and means creating a low cost product would help in eliminating that through some survey and research.
Very interesting. Very interesting. Thank you, Devji, for bringing this point up. So, so great. I think together as a class, we all of us know what needs to be brought in. What I'm going to do now is just to stitch all these inputs together and share with you how a good pitch or how a good solutions presentation can be structured, and what should be part of different components of this pitch. So collectively, I think all of us have brought together all the elements that need to be brought in. But how good presentations or how good pitches look like, what is the flow of a successful pitch? Let us just look at that. So what I'm showing you now is a graph between time and enthusiasm or energy in the room. So for example, you reach out to your manager or you reach out to an investor to present your solution, and you want to get some funds or get some sponsorship or anything like that. So at the beginning, when everything is fine, and I'm assuming a neutral atmosphere, people are aware that you have some solution to present. They are high on anticipation. They are looking forward to, okay, I know Amit, or I know Anshul, I know Devjit, I know the Tanu and others, and okay, let me just hear it out. What is it that they have to say? So let us say energy is at the point where I put a star at that level. At that point of time, we start with a startling, what I call as a startling introduction. Startling introduction could be a mix of the problem statement, could be a mix of the statistics involved, like abhi baat hui ki what are the statistics for clean air, for example, why is some action needed, or ye baat hui ki what kind of returns to expect. So all those, that this market is growing at this pace and we have a solution to enter into this market, or this thing is something that is very important, this can lead to this kind of a loss and we need to recover from that. So some data, something should be brought in here. But as you start to give in those details, people say, okay, as data starts to come to them, the energy and enthusiasm may cool down a bit. And which is when you have to bring it up again. You have to talk about your solution and its positive impact. So we are here to solve this problem by doing this, by doing that, by doing this. And you're talking about a positive impact. As soon as you talk about the positive impact, which could be financial, which could be emotional, which could be anything, but the positive impact of your solution, the energy and enthusiasm should be rising. What does this mean? How? So as a speaker, you should be enthusiastic when you're talking about positive impact. You should say, oh, this my solution will do this, my solution will do that, my solution will do this. You should be energized. You should be full of energy when you're talking about positive impact. Once you've talked about the positive impact and primed up the listeners there, primed up your manager there, that is when you do the impact of not doing anything. The intent is to take them through this roller coaster. You told them about the bright future. Now you want to tell them that if you do not sponsor me now, or if you do not invest in me now, what is it that you're going to lose? Not just what are you going to lose, but also what is it that the world may lose because the solution will not come into the picture. So that is the impact of not doing anything. What should be the tonality when you're talking about impact of not doing anything? If I say that when we are talking about positive impact, you should be, you ringing with optimism, and you should be chirping with joy, what should be the tonality when you're talking about impact of not doing anything?
Sir, a grave tone, something like that.
Yes, somber and serious. This has to be done in a very somber way. You cannot be smiling and say, if you do not invest in me, then see, you will lose this kind of money, or you will lose this kind of an opportunity, or world will not get this. You cannot be smiling and giggling and say like this. You have to say it in a very grave and somber tone. That so if this solution doesn't come through, then that is the kind of loss that the world will have, or this is the kind of loss in terms of life and property that could happen, and we are our solution can prevent all of that. Now once you've done that, the next part of your flow or the next part of your presentation can be a clear ask of what do you need. You have to bring them up. You have kind of disappointed them, or you've kind of taken them below a regular energy level. This dashed line, let us say, is the normal energy level of a person. Taken them below it. So you need to bring it up. They should feel good that they interacted with you. So you now need to have a very clear ask of what do you need. This, because now we're talking about statistics and numbers and about a plan, business plan, whatever. This can be in regular tone. And then once you've made the ask, now comes a very, very, very important part of your pitch. Can you tell me what could that most important part of your pitch could be? Anyone?
How it-
Revenue, so like how it will generate some revenue and
Revenue, you could have talked about in positive impact itself,
acha.
because that is a positive impact on their baseline, na? That you will earn this much. What else?
impact.
Huh?
Short-term plans.
Short-term plans, they are a part of what you need, because when you talk about I need this kind of money, then you also talk about with this money I will do this, I will do that, I will do that. That still is a part of the same thing, I would say. See, the most important part. Okay,
Supply chain.
so I'm sorry.
Supply chain.
Supply chain. Okay. Just wait. So, have you had a salesman approach you for selling you something? It could be a book, or it could be a insurance, it could be a product or anything. See, if they keep on speaking, you're just waiting for an opportunity to say no to them. Even if you want to do something, you want a window to speak. After this, it's very important that we give them a window of silence. We just stay quiet and we are standing there. We let them absorb the positive impact, the impact of not doing anything, and we let them think about whatever numbers we have given them. We let them ponder on that, and we let them ask questions. This 1 minute silence. So if it is a 5 minutes presentation, then you would probably speak for about 3.5 to 4 minutes, 4.5 minutes, and then you should go silent. You should go silent in anticipation. They should be looking forward to, okay, now the ball is in our court. You have to give the field, give the stage to them now. It is extremely important. They have to buy your product. आपने जो selling करनी थी वो हो गई अब तक. Now you may let them make the buying decision. And you should wait for questions. Don't answer questions by yourself. In fact, we will just come to in my next slide, I will talk a little bit more about what to conclude in different aspects. So there would still be some aspects which are not covered in the initial 4.5 minutes or 4 minutes there. Those details you can give when the questions come after this period of silence. But the silence is something that is the most important part of any pitch, any solutions pitch, not just to an investor, even to your manager, even to, you want to take a proposal to the dean of student affairs that we want to conduct the festival in this manner this year. Even then, for that proposal, after you make the proposal, just do not go on blabbering. Stop. Wait for him to think. Wait for this person to, just chew on the data that you give them, and then let them ask questions. The moment they start to ask questions, they are starting to own your solution. If you have told them anything, everything, then it is your solution till now. Once they start to ask, it means they are now interested in the solution that you're bringing on the table, and they are already mentally buying into it. So the silence is actually the most important part. आपकी tonality positive impact में खराब हो गई, कुछ नहीं होता. आपकी tonality impact of not doing anything में खराब हो गई, कुछ नहीं होता. लेकिन अगर आप silence वाले part में, if you continue to speak, the entire effort of the previous 4-5 minutes, that just gets traded away. And being silent is not easy. Questions?
So this silence means we are going to end your presentation before that.
I'm sorry?
So like the silence point is when starting.
Silence
before
means
that,
you just stop talking about anything. You have your last slide on the table, on the board, which says that this is what we need, and that's it.
Okay, that means end your presentation actually.
Just not ending your presentation. That slide should be there. Your ask should be there on the screen. You are standing there.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
it. Presentation is not ended. That slide is still there, and you are also there with the mic and
Yes.
everything in your hands. You're not left the stage.
Yeah, got it.
So what should be the ideal time of the presentation? Investors presentation.
See, so an elevator pitch is expected to be 1.5 to 2 minutes at different places and different settings. For example, if you're making a technical presentation to your manager in office, let us say, and you're expecting them to give you 3 months of time to evaluate a particular solution that you have brought up. This total presentation could be 15 minutes, even half an hour at times. You could be presenting to the entire team of managers that, okay, this is what this is the problem that we are facing. This is how we want to solve it. And this is what we need. I need to spend more time on this to evaluate this. I will file 2 patents, whatever. So that, so this time you may be allocated this time based on the setting. For example, in our course project presentation, you may say that you will have around 7 to 8 minutes with us. In the last 1 minute or last 30 seconds should be silence. So if you have to present all of this, let us say in 2 minutes or in 5 minutes or 10 minutes, can you have a lot of textual slides then?
So from what I know, it's never a good idea to have any slides which are very they're filled with text. Generally, better to have some visualization. So, but I don't know what's the specific reason for in this case.
So actually that's the case. अगर आपको 5 मिनट में present करना है, तो it has to be full of graphics, very little text. Like in this slide, how much text do you have? Just a few words, but the entire content is being presented, and हमने जितना भी time लगाया है इसको present करने में. You should make it as visual as possible. if it's a circuit solution you are presenting, you should make the circuit diagram, you should present the simulation results, you should present graphs comparing the conventional way of working with the new circuit and so on, everything. But it cannot be text. It has to be supported. Like whatever you're going to speak should be supported with related images and visuals. No questions? So then let me just give you a few additional details. I have organized this page in terms of, you remember the six hats of Edward de Bono? What were the 6 hats of Edward de Bono that we talked about? Who can remind us of that? The innovation process and the 6 hats of Edward de Bono. कुछ भी याद हो? Just speak up. What are the colors of the hats, if you remember?
Like one was green, blue, black.
Green, blue, black.
Green was fertile, like generating
White
ideas.
and red.
White and red. Okay.
Yeah. Black was being the bad guy, which I think that was the 4th or the 5th hat. And
Good.
before that, it was exploring, I mean, evaluating the ideas that got generated. So the first one, I think first or second was the green, which was just generating ideas without judging them. And then it was, I don't remember the color, but that was an analysis of all the ideas. Then it was the black hat, as an analysis as in building on them, looking at them in a positive light and building on the ideas. Then it was a black hat, which was kind of discarding bad ideas or non-workable ideas.
Okay, so let me quickly review them for all of us. So first we wear the white hat, which is the hat of data collection and facts collection and understanding the problem statement better. Then we wear the green hat, where we brainstorm and come up with solutions. That is green represented fertility. Then we wear the yellow hat, where we say this is about optimism. Okay, this idea can bring in this value, this idea can bring in this value, this idea can bring in this value. Then we wear the red hat as to the emotions, or the black hat, where we say, okay, this is the limitation of this idea, this is the limitation of this idea, this is where this idea can fail. Then we wear the red hat, which we say that, okay, now I have all this information now, which idea still sticks on with me? And then finally, we wear the blue hat, which is about coming up with the execution details as to how much time it would take and how would one go ahead and implement a particular idea, a particular solution, and so on. So you will notice that this way of presenting that we're talking about also comes in a very similar sequence in terms of usage of hats. So when you're talking about the first thing, that what is the problem statement we are going to work on, then that is a good thing. That is a good time to talk about market size and opportunity also. That we are here with you to talk to you about this kind of a market which offers this kind of an opportunity. And you think of the white hat, bring in as much data as possible about all these things. And you talk about expected CAGR, returns, etc. in the problem statement itself, so that people are interested to listen to what you're going to say. Then the second hat that we're talking about, then when we're talking about the positive impact, we're actually talking about green hat, yellow hat, and red hat. We do not just talk about dry numbers there. We need to bring in the red hat and the emotions also. We need to bring in the yellow hat and the sunshine view also, that, okay, if we do this, then this is all that can happen. And green hat is about, you can talk about 1 or 2 ideas. Then when you're giving, impact or not doing anything, again, you should be giving data. The data that you collected when you're wearing the white hat. So here only emotions will not work. Oh, if you do not do this thing, then these kind of, then, this person will feel bad or this customer will turn bad. Here you need to tell about the numbers. What happens when this customer goes away? What happens to the bottom line when this kind of a profit doesn't come in? So loss in terms of life and property, should be given there. Life and property means numbers. These many deaths can happen. This much loss in revenue can happen. This is how the attrition may increase. This is how the health of the students can get impacted, or all that. And what do we need? That ask has to be very, very clear. And Amit also mentioned it exactly in the same way, that you should have very clear numbers of what we need. We also should explain how will we use these resources. Now, how much explanation we give here is something that is on your judgment, because you have only total 4.5 minutes at times, or at times just 5 minutes. So you may not be able to give too much details here. You can leave the details a little hazy. But this last slide that you are keeping there, what is it that we need? That should have clear numbers. That should have a semblance of a timeline of implementation. That should also talk about how have risks been mitigated. It is also here that you could say that, okay, I have this much of an experience working on this kind of a topic, and therefore I believe that we will take care of this risk. This is all where you can come up with your background information also. And then who is the competition? Who will take over if you do not act on things right away? So in some sense, what we did in the TRIZ benchmarking part, that would also come in here. And over here, we're thinking of black hat and blue hat. Blue hat is about implementation and execution. So that's the last part that we talk about in the presentation also. Any questions?
So could you explain the third point? Give data when sharing impact of not doing anything.
So give, for example, you could say that if this e-bike doesn't come, let us say, let us take the example of an e-bike. Then we say that, okay, if this e-bike doesn't come, then these many extra people will actually, so, we are targeting this kind of a market capturing with this e-bike. We want to have this kind of a production capacity and so on. And if this e-bike doesn't come, then the air would get more polluted. This World Bank says, or a clean air campaign tells us that if things move at the same pace, then the air in Delhi would become like 500, AQI will become 500. So just fetch data from some agencies where these kind of numbers are given. That these many deaths can happen. 20% of patient load in our hospitals will be of children below the age of 5 suffering from breathing problems. So whatever all this data could be, negative data about the doomsday predictions that many consulting agencies and many newspapers make every day in and day out. We talk about that data over here. Is this clear, Navpreet?
Yes, yes, clear.
More questions? So what should the titles of your slides be? When you're making this presentation, what should be the titles of your slides? So let me tell you what they should not be. They should definitely not be startling introduction. They should definitely not be positive impact. They should definitely not be impact of not doing anything. Whatever it is, it has to be relevant to the project and topic that you're working on. What we're talking about here is the content. We're not talking about the slide titles. Please be careful. If you give that as a slide title, people already know that you're going to pull them down, pull their emotions down. Are you able to see this? You cannot be doing that. Any questions?
Hello, sir.
Yes, Om.
So how is like problem statement or defining problem different from impact of not doing anything?
Oh, very different. When you're defining the problem, you say that, okay, we have a clean air problem in Delhi. In the months of November, for the past 5 years, AQI reaches 600, which is dangerous. And the government has had to go to odd even policy. The government has done this, the government has done that, and they're still struggling with this. So this is the problem statement. Impact of not doing anything is that if you don't do anything now, what will happen 5 years down the line? Problem statement is about the present as it exists today. Impact of not doing anything is how would the problem unfold later. For example, एक और example कितना लेते हैं? Suppose you're providing a new feature. So you say that, okay, this is our product and this is where our product is as of now. It is the market leader. And it's been 2 years now that we've been the market leader. We see that our competition is catching up on market share, and we don't want to, and we want to maintain our position as the leading player in the market. So we need to introduce new features. So the problem statement is, what new features do we want to introduce? And then the impact of not doing anything would be that if I do not do anything now, then my market share would go down. There are younger players, they will take up the market and we may dwindle. So this is what a presentation you could make to the CEO of a company that is making good profits, asking them to innovate. Is this clearer?
Yes, sir. Yes, it is clear.
Anything else? So please think about it. I would want that the pictures that you make at the end of the semester are really high quality. That is why I thought that, even though there is about a month to go, not exactly a month, or less than a month, a little less than a month, but yeah, still quite some time to go. I wanted to make this, have this discussion with you so that you can really bring up your presentations up to the mark and make a big impact there. Some of you may also be thinking of presenting in RISE, or not about whatever you're doing in this course, but many of you may have posters that you're presenting in RISE. Again, when you talk about anything in any such setting, this is the kind of flow that can help you making a better impact. So that's where I felt that this is an opportune time to talk about how to make a good presentation when you're presenting a new solution there. So if there are no more questions, we can then go into breakout rooms and start to work on projects. I will join breakout rooms at random, and then we can, if there are any questions, anything that you are struggling with, I would be happy to respond to those questions there. I will open the breakout rooms just now.
So what do we have to do in the breakout rooms?
You work on your projects, refine your projects. Many of you said that you were not able to work on the project after the mid-semester break. So that now it's the time to restart.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So I see many people are not yet assigned. So if you tell me your team numbers, I will post you in those rooms. Amritpal, which team are you in?
Sir, 4.
Team 4. Okay. Anshul?
So it's team number 2.
Anshul is team number 2. Okay. Arham? Abhyutit, what is your team number?
Sir, 1.
Okay. Arham? Arjun?
Sir, 9. Team 9.
Team 9. Okay.
Yeah.
Devjit?
Sir, team 11.
Team 11. Okay.
Yes, sir, team 11.
Deeptanu?
Team 6.
Karanjot?
Sir, team 3.
Team 3. Malika?
So 6.
Om?
Team 3.
Saurabh?
Sir, my group is 9.
9. Okay. Shubham?
Team 1.
Team 11.
1.
1. Okay. Vaibhav?
11.
वैभव दोबारा से बोलो.
Team 11.
Team 11. Okay. Arham? Which team are you in?
So it's team 12 for me, not 2.
Team 12 for you.
Yeah.
Okay. Anshul, I'll put you in team 2, so I'll put you in team 12. Here you go. Arham? Tanuj?